your dreams or the vision you have for your life. Watch this. Truth be told, when we reach a certain age, we no longer reach for what's due to because of what is. There are some dreams and some vision that God has given unto us, and because they did not come to pass when we thought they should have in this season, that we thought, we tend to abandon them because now we're saying, I'm too old to fulfill that dream. We got to have understanding. Truth be told, when we reach a certain age, we no longer reach for due to what is. We must understand that Jeremiah tells us that God has a plan for our lives. They are plans of prosperity, hope, and a future. You can be living in the worst condition of your life, but just know, watch this, here's your shout, you are included in God's plans. Okay. That didn't make you move the way I thought it would do. You got to have an understanding. What I'm saying is, your name came up and out of the mouth of him who was able to do exceedingly and abundantly above all that we can ask or think. See, you got to know when to go cuckoo for Cocoa Puff. I just told you that your name came up out of God's mouth. And then when your name come up out of God's mouth, whatever promise that God say out of his mouth concerning your name here, it has to come to pass. No, your name came up and you didn't have to be present to win. Your promise is about to be delivered, and you are about to cash in. You are about to cash in. In your Frank Sinatra voice, somebody says, start spreading the news. Watch this. And when you spread the news, see who laugh at what you say. The problem with believers, when they're given a word or a promise from God, it always exceeds who you are and where you are in your current condition. In other words, sometimes the promise can be so big that you yourself don't believe that it's capable of happening. God have shown some of you some promises of concerning your life, but because they were so big, because you were looking at what you had in the bank, and you began to laugh and not believe, because you were thinking, how in the world, in my current state, in my current condition, that I can get to what God has spoken in my life. Can I help somebody here today? It's okay to be scared of what God has told you, but you got to realize that God said, is there anything too hard? When you're dealing with an extraordinary God, you got to realize that the vision and the promise ain't going to be just something small. I'm going to help you out today. There are some things in your life. There are some dreams that you had. There are some vision that was given unto you. But because you grew up poor, you thought that you can obtain some of the things that God have given. Because you grew up living with somebody, sleeping on someone else's couch, driving someone else's car, wearing someone else's clothes and shoes, you thought that when God showed you the promise, it was based on what you had in the bank. Can I help some of y'all today? You ain't got enough money to finance the promise that God has for your life. You need to be able to understand that God says, I'm able to do exceedingly and abundantly above all that you can ask or think. So God said, when I share what I have for you with you, it's going to make you feel like you cannot get it. Tap your neighbor and say, neighbor, the promise of God is always bigger than you. The promises that God has for your life. Hear what I love about God. The promise that God has for your life. Normal thing that happen in your life will cause people to talk about you while God is still behind the scene trying to promote you. So what? You had a child out of wedlock, and all you got to do is ask for forgiveness. The Bible says he's faithful and just to forgive you. So what? You didn't graduate from high school, because there's a lot of CEOs don't have a high school or a college degree. So what? You didn't finish. So what? You didn't do it. But you got to have an understanding. If God be for me, who can be against me? We got to have an understanding. Ladies and gentlemen, we got to have an understanding. We have to start spreading the news. The reason you want to start spreading the news about your promises, you want to hear what the haters got to say. Can I help some of y'all? Sometimes haters are not enemies. Sometimes haters are frenemies. They say that you're a friend, but in reality, you ain't got no love for me. You just ride my coattail. Start saying in the spirit or in the natural what God is telling you in the spirit realm. Start telling them God said that I'm going to do this, and God said I'm going to have that, and God said I'm going to be here, and God said I'm going to own that, and listen for their response. Pastor Anthony Murray wrote a book entitled What Happened to Your Dreams. It's one thing if someone else killed your dream, but it's also devastating to kill your own dreams due to abandonment. The text said God made Abraham a promise and gave Sarah his word. I'm going to say that again. God made them a promise and gave them the word to something that looked foolish. Okay. It's in the text. She was about 89. He was about 99. His promise was, they didn't have no kids, but the promise was, you're going to be the father of many nations with no kids. And Sarah, you are going to bear the beginning of the nation when you have never born a child when you was in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, let alone your 90s. A promise and the person words from the wrong one can be both a lie. But a promise and his word can't lie and is forced to produce. Okay, the text said in verse 10, God gave a promise or a revelation that was governed by time and is required him to be the witness. Look in the Bible. Verse 10 said, listen to that. Verse 10 said, then one of them said, I will return to you about this what? Time. The promise had a time. Some promises are subject by time. And if promises are subject by time, you ready for this? The beneficiary need to have patience. Some of y'all want the benefits before the time. And if you get the benefit before the time, you might end up like the prodigal son. Shucks. But the Bible said, then he said, I will return about this next year, and your wife, here's the promise, Sarah will have a child. The promise has restrictions. It was governed by a time limit. Can I help some of y'all in here today? You need to be ready to shout when I get ready to say that your time is almost up for your promise to be delivered. Oh, shucks. You've been crying. You've been waiting. You've been worried. You've been scratching your head. You've been robbing Peter just to pay Paul. But I come to tell you today, I seen the sand in the hourglass, and it's more at the bottom than it is at the top. That is an indication that your blessing is about to have its expiration. Time required him not only to give the blessing, but the blessing caused God himself to have to show up. Not only did he give her a promise, but I am also going to show up for the celebration. Oh, shucks. It's that due date to your due season. Y'all, come on, Rehoboth. Y'all shut up. Y'all, some of y'all, listen, the problem is why there's some of y'all like Sarah. You laughing at me when I'm trying to tell you God got a promise. Okay, that's cool. I'm going to let you laugh because you got to have an understanding over in a couple chapters over what she was laughing at. Granny said, what you laugh at, I'm soon to make you cry because you got to have an understanding. Just because you don't believe it ain't going to stop it from manifesting. So the devil is a lie that said that you got to believe in order for it to come to pass. Not if it came from God's mouth. If God said it, he don't need your belief. He don't need your faith. He don't need you credit. He don't need you holding on. All God said, if I said it, I'm going to show up to show you that I am who I am. The text says, God said, watch this, I'm going to come back for the festivities. I'm coming back for the baby shower. I'm coming back for the wedding rehearsal. I'm finna help some of y'all. I'm coming back for the housewarming. Because the promise that I'm going to give you, you ready for this? It's going to be in a season where you ain't in control of what's going to be delivered. What are you saying, Griffin? God said, I'm going to give you a promise when your money funny and your change is strained to let you know that you ain't got nothing to do with this. It's just the fact that it's a due season, and in the due season, it can only be produced by God himself. So God is saying this, I'm going to give it to you when you ain't got nothing. Yeah. See, y'all don't understand. A due season is also known as a kingdom season. A due season is also known as a kingdom season. A kingdom season means what it's personal. It's personal. Not only is it personal, but it's also private, but yet wide open. Oh my God. Who am I talking to here today? God said in your due season, they were talking about you when you didn't have nothing, but God said, I done signed you a due season to show the naysayers that what they say is not going to come to pass. But because I said it ain't got no choice but to come to pass, God said in this due season or this kingdom season, I'm going to produce. It's private, but yet it's open. Sounds like an oxymoron. It's private, but it's wide open. Oh. See, while I was making an intangible deposit, it produces tangible results. Okay, what are you saying, Griffin? When I should have been giving up, I was giving up praises. When I should have been crying, I was shouting. When I should have walked away, I stayed in the midst of it. When I should have thrown in the towel, I said, that's your best shot. I kept on moving forward when I should have been moving back. Who am I talking to here today? Some Sunday mornings, you didn't even feel like getting out of bed, let alone coming to church. You were tired of dealing with people, but if you said, if I could just get to the house of the Lord, everything is going to be all right. And God said, for no intangible things, I'm going to give it back to you tangible. When praises go up, when praises go up, that means intangible. You can't see it going up. But the tangible means, intangible mean I can't see, intangible mean I can see. So when praises go up, intangible blessings, wait, hold on. When intangible praises go up, tangible blessings come down. I'm in my kingdom season. And watch this. The kingdom season takes place in the midst of disaster and distress. Because, watch this, it's not governed by the current conditions. Okay, I lost some of y'all then. Let me get back to my notes. Kingdom season means it's personal and private, but yet wide open. I was making intangible deposit which produces tangible results. Shout kingdom season. It's when what seems impossible become possible because it's not governed by nature nor what's natural. Somebody shout provide. It means, watch this, your saving bonds, your stocks, your 401k, your Bitcoin had reached maturity, and I got to get rid of some because it's too much stored up. Oh, shuck. Who am I speaking to here today? God says you got a blessing in your due season that you ain't got room enough to receive. Anybody gonna be like Sarah? I'm talking to you and you laughing at me. But I want to ask you a question. Is there anything too hard for God? We serve a God that's able to do anything but fail. Some of y'all don't believe that God can when I know that he will. I know he's all right. Yeah. I know he's all right. What in the natural, Sarah had 3 strikes against her in having a child. Number one, she was barren. Couldn't produce. Nothing would come out. Number 2, she was old. She was old. Number 3, Abraham was old. 2 dead batteries don't start no car. It's hard to get a jump off on something that's already dead. Oh, I'm going to let y'all have that one in the car. Y'all discuss that one in the car. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? She had 3 strikes against her in producing a child. But hear what I love, hear what I love, hear what I love, hear what I love, hear what I love. But in the spirit, she had 3 things for her. She had a word, she had a promise, and she had assurance of a due season. Because the man said her due season was a year from now. She had a word. She heard some. She had a promise. He said something. She had assurance he gonna give something. Oh, who am I helping? Who am I helping in here today? She had a word, she had a promise, and she had assurance of a due season from the way maker who was also a miracle worker. You got to have an understanding. The thing that seems broken that you want to throw away, you got to put it in the right hands. God is able to put you back together again. Anybody in here needing to be made over? All you got to do is say, way maker who's also a miracle worker. Let me get into the hands of the man that's able to do anything but fail. In the natural season, she was barren because of her condition was barren, B-A-R-R-E-N, now has to B-A-R-E. Yeah. In other words, she was in a season where it couldn't produce because God gave a word it had to produce. Can I help somebody here today? You're in a season where they were telling you no. You was in a season where they were telling you can't. You was in a season where the credit wasn't good enough. But God said in the due season, what was ain't going to be no more. Can you high five somebody and say, girl, I used to be in that season. That used to be me right there. But the Lord said, in my new season getting ready to come, eyes have not seen, ears have not heard, nor has it entered into the hearts of them what God is able to believe and do. Can somebody for the first time high five your neighbor and say, neighbor, my due season has just come, and now what was got an expiration date. I'm just foolish enough to believe that God is about to blow my mind, and I ain't seen the best days yet. I'm experiencing some good time, but God said I got great time, which is better time. She was B-A-R-R-E-N, but when God left, he said you're going to B-A-R-E. Because of God, who what couldn't now can. Oh, what made her laugh 9 months later also made her cry with joy. A due season, watch this, forces a current season to change. Everything, even though the world still is in one season, it can't stop your due season. The Bible says that in a season that was unfavorable, he told Isaac to go plant some and some was going to come up. Can I help somebody here today? You got to be like a fool going outside putting seeds in the ground and it got ice on the ground. But one thing I got to have an understanding of, ain't a devil in hell, ain't no condition on earth can stop what God's about to do in my life. So you got to have an understand, even though I can't see it, ain't gonna stop it from coming to pass. Somebody up in Rehoboth begin to open up your mouth and let the enemy know it may not be my season, but it sure is my due season. And my due season says that something has to produce, even though the season ain't in store for producing. Somebody shout, I got a due season. I told Doug in the back, don't get stressed out when you're pregnant, because when you're pregnant and you get stressed out, you're subject to have complications. But God said, in this season, ain't gonna be no complication. You're gonna have a smooth delivery. Anybody here pregnant with a promise? Anybody got a promise on the inside that you got to get out on the outside? Don't stress out over it. God said you're gonna full deliver right on time all the time, because the man of God said 9 months later, this time next year, when I return, what you can't do, you gonna show up and do it. That's what the text said. The text said, he said, I'm coming back. And what you laughed at and thought that you weren't gonna be able to do, not only are you gonna do it, but I'm gonna be here to see it. You're going to be able to see it. A due season forces a current season to change. Even though the world is still in one season, it can't stop your due season. Can I be unapologetic when I say it's been a long time coming? I deserve it. I worked hard for it. I prayed for it. I deserve everything that God is getting ready to give me. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you talk about me. I don't care what you think about me. Baby, you got to realize what you eat don't make me go to sleep, but you got to have an understanding. I'm in a season of favor, and in my season of favor, you're going to look at it ain't being fair, but you got to understand who God I serve. It's been a long time coming for some of y'all, but you deserve it. You deserve it. It's been a long time coming. You deserve it. You almost abandoned it. You almost abandoned it. You almost let it go. God has been showing it. It's going to come to pass. But it scares you because it was bigger than you. But I want to let you know today, there's a lot of people had their mouth on you that said you weren't going to get it. It wasn't going to come to pass. But I got something to say in Rehoboth. Extra, extra. Read out about it. Your name came up and now they talking about it. Let them make their post, let them make their tweet, let them make their instant on the gram, but let them talk about you, but it can't stop what God got for you. Yeah. They were celebrating you when you were testifying that you were broke and you can barely make ends meet. Some people got happy over your downfall, but I want to let you know today, I'm telling you that your due season is on the way. I want you to make some noise and start talking about people and start telling people everywhere you go. Pastor said my due season is on the way, and see what their response is. If they don't rejoice with you, you need to move on, because one thing about them, they can't stop him from doing what he said. Oh my God, I'm about to go crazy up here just thinking about the goodness of Jesus and all that he done for me. My soul cries out, hallelujah. I deserve this. I deserve this. I've been waiting on this moment. I've been waiting on this. The devil tried to burn me up. But in the mix, I didn't burn and I didn't bend. I didn't even break. I can't say I didn't cry. Yeah, I cried. But as of today, I done cried my last tears because I got to understand it that my due date is about to come to pass. I can't lie now. He had me bent for a while. He had me shook for a while. I was crying. I was worried. I was scratching my head. I was paying my tithes. I was coming to church. But God said, I got to take that little bit so I can make a whole lot. God said, I put you out in order to put you in. God said, I got to fire you in order for you to start your own job. Your due season. Your due season. Your due season is rapidly approaching. Y'all know where I'm going with this. Oh, it didn't break you. It bent you. But you didn't, but you cried. But y'all know where I'm going with this. Because the Bible says, weeping may endure before night, but joy comes in the morning. Is there anything too hard for God? After all, the way maker and the miracle worker had your name in his mouth. And if he got his name in your mouth, he gonna have his hand on your body. Somebody begin to shout back at Griffin and let the devil know that God has given me an opportunity. When people said I wasn't gonna have nothing, high five your neighbor and say, neighbor, if I get mine, because we sit next to each other, if he's my neighbor, he's in my neighborhood, he's on my road. Who's on my road that's blessed that I can sit by and say, God, if you're going down the line, if I'm next to them, that means that I'm next. Somebody shout glory. Somebody shout hallelujah. Can somebody begin to lose their mind and begin to tell God thank you in the midst of what you've been going through? I dare you to stand on your feet and begin to shout to the top of your voice and say, I've been waiting on this for a long time. I've been hearing negative stuff about what I wasn't going to have, but it finally feels good to preach about what I am going to have. You said I can't. God said I can. The devil said I won't, but God said I will. Can somebody in Rehoboth begin to run and shout and run, and let the devil know you can't stop me. Come on, 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 come on. Make some noise. You got to 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 make some noise. It's more sand in the bottom than it is in the top. Your due season, your change is about to come. Come on. Come on. Let me hear the redeem. 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 The Bible said the redeem of the Lord ought to make some noise. Let the redeemer of the Lord ought to make some noise. You didn't have, but I'm going to let you know it's on the way. 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 It's closer than you can ever imagine. It's closer than you can ever imagine. The reason I know it's closer, I seen the truck in the neighborhood. I seen the truck in the neighborhood. It's closer than you think. 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 I remember, take me there, Doug. I remember I was anticipating a package. And I was waiting on this package to come. I began to get patient. Want to ride up and down the street looking for the UPS truck because I was expecting something. How many of y'all ever expect something? And if it's on your mind, you ain't gonna be able to do what you're supposed to do. So I began to expect something, Doug. I was looking for something, and I could hear God saying like this: sometimes you got to wait because it has your address. It ain't got no choice but to come to your house. But you got to have an understanding that sometimes the reason I got to wait because the God, he down the street and the person down the street got a big package delivered and what I got coming can't be held up. Sometimes we just got to get patient and waiting. Two reasons they got to come: because the tracker says on the truck and it's out for delivery. Shucks. Sometimes when we mess up at, we want to try to go and get what God is trying to deliver. I'm going to help you here today. Stop trying to go and get what God has already delivered. In other words, God said it's in the mail. You just got to wait. Get your tracking number. It'll make you feel comfortable knowing I got something that's on the way and it's getting ready to hit my house. It can't be delayed, but if it is delayed, it can't be denied. If it's delayed, it can't be denied. So stand to your feet. I ask God, give me patience that I can wait on what's about to come. I keep getting notifications throughout the day. They say your package is on the way. And because I know what it is, and I went without so long, you got to excuse me when I get a little anxious because I done been without some stuff sometime. I done went without some stuff sometime. And it just now, it had been a long time coming that I heard some good news that something was on the way for me. So you got to excuse me if I get a little fidgety, if I get a little uncomfortable, if I get a little ahead of myself. But sometimes God said, all you got to do is just sit back and wait. Your package is on the way. Who am I talking to in Rehoboth? Then let me know, holler at your boy. If you don't place your order,